Beat 500, get into the wild card.
86 got the Phillies all the way to the World
I
Series.
hate to break it to you, man. I don't think it was your vision.
This podcast is perfectly named, I would say.
I hate to make excuses for Sandy and the rest of the
No,
pitcher
you don't. You've been doing it all year.
I do hate it. I'm just gonna say it.
And fucking hitting bombs to fucking Cayocho. Like,
Inject that into my veins.
If that continues, there's no way we make the playoffs.
No question about it. I am ready to get hurt again.
Welcome, everybody, to episode number 17 of the Battered Marlin podcast. I am one of your hosts, Daniel Granada, and alongside me, I have two other Battered fans. But as always, before we get into the pleasantries, I will introduce myself along with my hat. And I mean, honestly, I just got done recording another podcast, so I went with good old faithful. I guess it's just the logo, right? It's just the
spring
Marlin.
training.
Yeah, I think it's a
yes,
spring
yes.
training cap.
But you know what? This is the one I prefer. I kind of like just the Marlin without the M. So I'm going just basic today. What's going on, Spaz? How you doing, sir?
Feels good to be back. I am wearing
A sexy hat.
$7.99 Ross special. It was made for people who love the Marlins and the Grateful Dead. So this works out very well for me.
Ooh.
But yeah,
That's nice. Well, I'm loving that. I'm a colorful guy, though, so I love everything that has a lot of colors.
Yeah, hell yeah.
And Mr. Brenton Griffin, how are you doing, sir?
I am feeling good. We're getting into the trade deadline. Looks like something I've been speaking
excited
a
to
lot
talk
about
that?
is coming to fruition. So I got my Father's Day Marlins Hawaiian shirt on and keeping it in
one
the
of those
present.
shirts, man. I need one of those shirts. I don't know where you guys got them, but I want one.
eBay.
Oh,
That was
let me-
I think it was $10.
Yeah. That's
Is
good.
it used or is
Yeah.
it used or no? Used? I need to find me one.
I watched it, so it's good.
I would hope.
Like
Just putting a disclaimer out there. If you ever buy anything used off of eBay, you don't know where it came from. Just give it a wash. All
At
right.
least one.
Yeah, just one. That's it. Just at least one. All right. So a kind of a short week, right? Only 5 games over the last 7 days.
Yeah.
It's a little weird, especially in that baseball season. But we had that random 2 games against the Rays. We had those 3s against the Rockies. And all in all, ended up being 2-3. We were all hoping for a 3-2. We knew the Rays series was going to be tough, but we took one from them. And it just wasn't as good as we would have hoped. But we're staying afloat. Still 7 games over 500. Just half a game back of the Phillies for second place in the NL East. So we're fighting. Brian, what did you think about the weekend's series? Well, I guess we'll start with the Rockies.
Rocky series, I was a little disappointed not to get 2 out of there. I really thought, I think it was the Saturday game. I think that was the bullpen game, but
Yes.
I think it was like 3-2. We ended up losing, and I really thought we had a chance to win that game. But the bats just weren't alive. We didn't hit very well in that whole series. The one game we won, what do we win by? We scored 3 runs. So the offense kind of went dormant. Pitching.
Well, Luzardo pitched his ass off that game.
Yeah, that it kind of pissed me off that he didn't get the win, because we had that moment and Brazzavin kind of came in and saved things. But Luzardo pitched his ass off.
13 strikeouts in 7 innings.
Yeah, and Brax and Cabrera also threw pretty decent games in that series, but just didn't get any run support. So, story of the Marlins' life, right?
Game 1, Braxton gave up 5 runs in the first 2 innings.
immediate home run, like off the bat.
And then he gave up another home run in the 3rd inning. So it was 6-0, and it was 3 home runs basically in each of those innings. So Braxton, surprisingly, because he's usually on his stuff, but he wasn't on his stuff that first game. But Soriano came and he pitched in relief, and Soriano looked great. He had 6 consecutive strikeouts. Like Soriano was really
exciting.
good. That was a bright spot this week with Soriano. Any takeaways from the Rocky series, Spaz?
No, fucking game 1 was, like you said, Braxton usually has his stuff and then gives up an immediate home run. But also Sanchez had some errors that also cost us runs. And they were looking like, the Rockies aren't an amazing team. They're not a team that you think like, and they're looking like prime. They're looking at the fucking Dodgers against us, like making diving catches in center field. Like it's so upsetting, and they turn up against us, and we should be taking those games. You know.
And the
Yeah.
weird thing is that they play in Coors Field, and this year they haven't really been a really good home run hitting team. But they teed off against us.
It's
Yeah.
like I can't explain it. The Cueto game. I mean, nobody saw that coming.
Yeah, let's talk about that. I want to hear an
No.
apology from Branton.
Big man. And then listen, in our group chat, I'll put it out there. I'll put myself on blast. You know, any Miami sports fan knows Messi, the GOAT, came to Inter Miami. And I said, well, boys, on Saturday, I texted out, Friday night, we all got to see the GOAT play for Inter Miami, and we get to see the man who ate a herd of goats pitch. And you know what? He made me eat my words. And he looked great. And, you know, that's not the first time he's looked decent. So, you know, we'll probably get into it later, but Cueto is our 5th starter. I don't hate it anymore. But again, it's one start. Like, let's see him chain it together. Let's see what happens his next time on the hill, because he very easily could just give up 20 runs in the first inning and we never hear him again.
I wouldn't doubt it the way he looked in AAA, but
It was bad.
we got to just go based off of what we saw last in his first start since April, and he looked dominant. He had 8
Yeah.
Ks. He had 8 strikeouts. He
turned back
he
the
looked
clock.
really good. It
It
was
was
good.
like
Now,
classic Cueto.
what
Small sample size.
small sample size. We'll see how he looks in the next series. Now, one thing I did want to bring up about the Rocky series, which I think was I think the roughest part, is one, I think Skip has lost his trust in Puck, because we saw Puck in that second game, that Cueto game. He came in the 8th inning, not the 9th inning. He came in the 8th inning. He got out of the 8th inning, and then we saw Tanner Scott in the 9th, and Tanner Scott lost the game for us.
Did he give up the 3-run jack? I thought it was Puck.
No.
No, it was
That was
Tanner.
game 3. We'll get into game 3 right now also. But Tanner Scott blew the game for us on Saturday. And like you just alluded to, on Sunday, Puck came in the 9th. I guess Skip's like, you know what? That experiment didn't work. Let's put Puck back in the 9th. And I want to say we had the lead in the 9th, right? But yeah, he had a save opportunity. And he blew it. And they tied the game. Puck in the 9th. Puck, I don't think he can be trusted anymore. I don't know what we're going to do. Our bullpen, and we're going to get into it a little later, but it went from our strength to our weakness in a blink of an eye. I don't know if it's because we overused the arms at the beginning of the season or what it was, but that's 2 games in a row where we just got hammered in the 9th. And luckily, Luis Arias came through for us in the 10th inning, and we ended up salvaging 1 game in that series. But I think the biggest takeaway from that Rocky series was the 8th and 9th inning in those 2 games.
Yeah, I mean, so I was reading an interesting article on Puck, and they kind of interviewed his pitching coach from the Athletics, and they were asking him, you know, why he thinks he's struggling, and so he kind of traced it back to, right, Puck is a converted starter. He used to be a starter, and they converted him to a bullpen guy, and in starts where he's had to, or in appearances where he's gone in like back-to-back appearances, like 2 days in a row, he struggles. But if you give him a day off in between appearances, that's when he's back to his dominant self. It's something about the guy was talking about. It's like something about his recovery time. But I think what we're going to start seeing is I don't think he's going to be the closer for much longer. And I think that's good for him. I think it would be better for him to be like a setup guy. Him and Tanner can kind of split that because I think the move we made this week and trading for Jorge Lopez, I wouldn't be surprised to see Lopez getting some opportunities to save some games for us. He was very dominant as a closer for the Orioles. Things kind of fell apart last year in Minnesota, and he struggled with some mental health issues. But I think Kim is hoping he gets back to his dominant self, and a change of scenery helps. And you know, we'll see. But yeah, I think Spazzy was right when he told us all that, you know, he told us all to Puck up, and he's gone.
I mean, but this guy that we're getting, isn't it kind of like a lateral move?
Yeah, because we got rid of Dylan Floro.
It is right now. Like, if you look at his
salary,
stats,
right?
Well, if you look at his stats for this season, yeah, it's a lateral move. But the Twins actually traded for him not last year, the year before, and they gave up 4 players specifically for him. When he was with the Orioles, he was a very dominant player. And he got to Minnesota. His first outing, I think he came in and I think it was bases loaded with no outs, and he got the save. Didn't allow anything, and then things just kind of fell apart. So with him, it kind of seems like it may have been he did have to take like a mental health break through last season. So I think it's a head game with him, and hopefully, if I'm not mistaken, I believe he's Puerto Rican. So maybe being closer to home, maybe he has family down here that can help him kind of refocus. Because if he can find his dominant, his old self, I mean, that's a huge pickup for us, and all it cost us was a bum.
That's fucked up.
That is kind of messed up.
Listen, I will never forgive Floro for spoiling Yuri's debut.
I mean,
Yuri
Oh,
was
yeah.
in line to win that game. We were all standing there,
We were there.
lights going off in Lone Depot. We're like, yeah, we got this. Puck is coming out. No, Floro. And he blew it.
That's it. It's been game over since then.
All right, so we salvaged one game out of that Rocky series. We should have taken 2, but we salvaged at least 1. And then we went into the Rays series. It's 2-game series in Tampa. We hadn't won in Tampa since 2020. First game of the series, Edward Cabrera started. He only lasted 2 innings. He keeps having these blister issues. I don't know what's going on with him.
Reminds me of Josh Beckett. Remember Beckett had those blister issues?
Yeah.
He was always have those
Beckett
blisters.
was miles better, but yeah,
He used
Beckett
to always
Right.
get
yeah,
scratch day of with those
Yeah.
things.
yeah.
And then Jorge Soriano came in, and he had a great performance after Cabrera left. But the Rays ended up taking the game. Tyler Glasnow basically dominated that game. And going into that game, the Rays had lost 7 of 8 games. So you figure that the Marlins were kind of primed to take advantage of a team that was kind of wounded. But obviously they took advantage. But somebody that did take advantage of this wounded team was Spaz's boy, Sandy El Caballo, as you like to call him,
Get it.
Alcantara. And Branton, I guess I'll let you start, even though I know Spaz loves him because I love that he calls him El Caballo. But Branton has been defending him after every poor start this year, and he finally came through in a big way. 97 pitches, a complete
Oh,
game.
yeah, he did.
So what do you have to say
Listen.
about your boy El Caballo?
Listen, El Caballo is he's a man. I knew he was going to come back.
He's a fucking horse.
Well, and he's struggling, right? So we know what his record is. We know he has an ERA, but he's I think an inning behind Zach Gallen for number of innings pitched in the majors this year.
He's a workhorse.
He's
for
faced
real.
the most batters in the majors this year, and he's tied for the most complete games this year. Like, the dude he's putting in work, and it's gonna pay off, and it's starting to pay off. And you don't just have a game like that against a talented team like the Rays and it just be a fluke, right? Like, I think we start seeing Sandy turn it back on the second half of the season. We need him to, because a lot of people on Marlins Twitter are in shambles saying, oh, we're going to trade for a starter. We're going to trade for a starter. And if Sandy comes back and is on all cylinders, that's you traded for another starter.
Yeah, because
I
I mean, 7 games over 500, despite basically not having the Cy Young. We've had him on the mound, but
yeah,
we haven't had the Cy Young on the mounds yet.
no.
He 97 pitches, 5 hits, 1 earned run, 1 walk, 7 Ks, and going in through 6 innings, he had only thrown 58 pitches. It was an efficient game.
Yeah.
He was efficient. He had 4 out of the first 6 innings were single pitch innings. He was dominating at the slop, and I love to watch it. What do you have to say about your boy El Caballo, Spaz?
I mean, I think everyone was just super excited to see. I mean, a Sandy complete game is like Christmas, It's you're super excited to see it. You're super excited he's always gonna go deep anyway. Even if he's struggling, he'll make it to the 7th. He'll get there, scratching and clawing. But man, after that second inning, I think it was, we got the first run and we never looked back. I think the final score is 7-1, 7-2?
7-1.
7-1.
Well, and you know what? I was worried because when he gave up that 1 run, I want to say it was the 2nd or 3rd inning that he gave it up.
Yeah.
He gave it up and there was no outs. And I was like, oh, here's the inning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here's that inning that we're accustomed to, right? Because he'll give up 3 or 4 or 5 runs, and then he'll shut him out the rest of the game.
Yeah,
But you
yeah.
gave up those 3, 4 runs.
Much.
But no, he kept it at 1.
And kind of Brandon's been talking about this the entire season, where his pitches have been up. He's been leaving them up. On the broadcast, they were talking about how his pitches have been down for that game and keeping it where it needs to be. So, I mean, I don't know. Him and Mel been doing some work. God knows. I don't know. But we need more of that. So I'm super stoked about that. One thing that I do want to bring up is in that game, Stallings got some hits.
Oh, don't say it.
Stallings got some hits.
He did.
You know I'm the #1 Stallings hater. I do not give a fuck about that man. But he got some hits, bro. Listen, more than Fortes, I think, has been doing. So I don't know what to think
increasing his trade value.
Fuck it, whatever. Give me something.
Just to clarify on what you just said, over the last 2 series, Jacob Stallings batting 200, Nick Fortes 333. Just putting it out there.
Right.
Just putting it out there.
Fortes
Let's respect Fortes.
All right.
All right. A couple things that I wanted to add to the last week or so. Birdie has been playing great.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He's been
Birdie
playing
ball,
great.
baby.
Birdie ball. He's in the last 25 games, he's batting 373. Luis Ariz, he finally woke up because going into before the Rocky series, he was batting 265 since the All-Star break. Completely unlike Luis Ariz.
Isn't it funny that we think like a guy hitting 265 is bad?
Yes.
And it's like
because
most people would kill to bat that.
100%. But he was flirting with 400, so we're like, man, what just happened? But over the last 2 series, batting 368, so he's come back to normal over the last week. And one stat that I did want to share with you guys, which I thought was a very interesting stat. I don't know if anybody's really talked about it too much. Luis Ariz this season, when he has a runner in scoring position and there's 2 outs, he's batting 460.
Ooh, wow!
Now that is clutch. That is clutch. 2 outs, man in scoring position, you're batting 460. That is clutch.
But he just never seems like nervous. And I think he likes it even more in that. But like every time he's up to bat, I'm like, this dude like knows he's gonna get on base. And if he has somebody on base, he's like, I'm gonna bring that motherfucker in. Like it is such a cool thing to watch. Like, yeah, dude's a man.
Well, a cool stat that I saw about Ariz is his at bats per strikeout ratio is like insane. It's like he strikes out like every like 16 and a half at bats, which is like unprecedented. I
think he only has like 25 strikeouts all year, I want to say, or something. It's some ridiculous number.
Yeah.
That'd be pretty insane.
23. Yeah. He has 23 strikeouts all year.
I mean, the only one who'd probably be better than that is that Soto, because like he doesn't strike out or something like that, right? Juan Soto.
I'm not sure.
No, Ariz has the highest percentage of at bats without a strikeout or in between strikeouts.
Okay,
Soto's probably right behind him. That guy, you're right. He doesn't really strike out, but yeah, Ariz knows he's gonna get it done.
And he's on our baseball team, and somehow, like,
I know, right? Like it's just what a time to be a Marlins fan.
He's still a free agent at the end of this year, correct?
I think there's an option.
Yeah. I think there is an option. That's a Cali question. I don't have the answer.
Got it. Which, by the way, we're missing Cali tonight. Mm-hmm. So shout out to Cali. He's off somewhere in some beach having a good time with his snow globes. All right. So, Bratton, I guess we touched on it before about apologizing to Cueto. Do you think that he is now? Because remember, like you said, and like we said last week before the start, we figured it's a bullpen game.
Yeah.
It didn't really end up being a bullpen game because he went like 6 or 7 innings. So, are we going to keep doing these bullpen games where he starts and if he struggles, we take out, or we start announcing him as the 5th starter?
I think it'd probably be best for us to probably go ahead and still consider those bullpen games for now. I don't know it's one game, right? And a guy who's had his career as long as Cueto and has been at times in his career been really, really good. You'd hope he could turn back the clock and give us a half season. If he can give us a half season where he's giving up 2 or 3 runs a game, I'm okay with it. Like, he doesn't have to strike out 8 batters every time out. Like, he could strike out nobody, just only give up 3 runs and we're good. That's a decent 5th starter. So if he can do that, he can be the 5th starter. But right now, I'm still calling him a long reliever. I don't trust him yet.
What about you? You ready to ride the Cueto wagon?
Fuck no, no. Dude, we saw that rehab assignment. It was what was his ERA? 9.11, like 9.11, some shit like that.
Oh, it was higher
crazy.
than that.
Yes.
Yeah. All right.
He was wishing for a 9 ERA.
Listen, I do feel bad that did you guys see his face when this idiot gave up that 3-run jack? His jaw was like on the. He was just like, what the fuck?
I know. Happened? He's like, I just pitched the gem and you ruined it. Yep.
Yeah.
I 3-run home run.
Yeah, I truly did feel bad for him.
I finally won over the fan base.
Yeah.
Battered Marlins is going to be praising me that I got my first win. And you took it away from me.
So, I mean, I don't want to. I wish I could say, that I want him to be out there as a not a long reliever, as a starting pitcher and give us 6 to 7. I got to see at least 2 or 3 more outings and then figure it out. But hopefully, man, that's what happens. But I think I'm on this boat, long reliever.
Okay. How do you feel now that Cabrera has this blister issue? Yuri got sent down. We're still waiting on Trevor Rogers. Like, we don't have necessarily a full 5 yet, a full rotation. Am I crazy to think that maybe George Soriano gets put into that rotation?
Yes, you are crazy to think that.
No, you're not.
Put him as a starter. As far as the bullpen goes, he has the 2nd lowest average batting average against. They're batting 198 against him. Only person with a better average against is Stephen Okert at 181.
Listen, we've talked about it. The bullpen's a problem, and you can't take like your one good reliever that's being consistent right now out of the bullpen and put him in the rotation as much as we may need him. I think it's better to call up a guy like Monteverde. Let's give him a shot in the rotation.
Oh, but like that's
Let me tell you something. The day that they call up Monteverde, we have to have a special celebration here for Brandon.
Yes.
Listen, I will do a Peter Pratt. I will do a Peter Pratt style like Twitter rant video where I'm in my backyard going crazy because that's what'll happen.
This is episode 17. I'm pretty sure you said Monteverde at least once in every
episode. At least. I think it's him. I don't know what I've said more, Monteverde or Tim Anderson. It's one of the two.
Definitely.
But what I think will probably actually happen is there's a lot of truth to the Marlins shopping for a starter here before the deadline. They've been rumored to 2 guys on the Cubs. I forget their names, and also possibly the White Sox as well if they can get somebody with Tim Anderson in that trade if they do pull it off. So I think that's what ends up happening, and Soriano can continue doing his stuff in the bullpen. Let's not mess with him. He's doing great.
So I remember the Marlins tried to do this a few years ago, and I can't remember the pitcher that it was, but they started working him just giving him longer innings. I want to say it was like 2 or 3 years ago, and I can't remember the pitcher.
I think it was Sixto, wasn't it?
It was not Sixto, bro. We have not seen that guy in forever. And I listen, as much as I would like him to be a Marlin.
He might come back in September.
Yeah, bro.
No.
Like him to come back and give us 104 off the mound. He's not gonna. Don't get me started on that shit. I'll just piss off a bunch of people. But I forgot what it was. So he was in our bullpen, and then we just had no fucking pitching, and they were like, okay, 2 innings, and they built him up. They built him up until finally they gave him a start, and I don't think he did very well. But I mean, it's something that we could do with Soriano. I like Soriano a lot, but yeah.
But do we have that kind of time? That's the thing.
No.
We don't have time to do that if we're going to be contenders.
Thank you for bringing me back to the ground. That's why I have you here. What is it? We got 60 games, right?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
and we're back down to third place.
Well, fuck
But look, we're down after the All-Star break. But Sandy looked great. Hopefully he's back. Luzardo looked great. So
Mhm.
how are we feeling about our aces? Do we think we have Sandy? We have Luzardo. How do you feel about Luzardo?
I mean, he's the best, man. Especially if you Branson, you probably saw him like from when he first came up, when he had he
Yeah.
had a great game, and then he had a bad game, and then they gave him glasses, and he's like turned it around. And he's just been great ever since.
That's when Brenton turned his career around.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah, remember in the
It's in
intro.
the intro. It's
That's
in the
what we were
intro.
talking about when Callie's like, "It's not your, not your eyesight."
Yeah.
No, I love Luzardo, man, and I hope. I mean, he's done so well for us. I mean, he's gotten beat up a little bit, just like the rest of us, but. I hope he continues to improve, and he can be. I mean, earlier in the season, we were like, he's our ace. Like Sandy doesn't have it. Like nobody else has it. Luzardo's our ace.
He's leading
He's
the team
still-
in strikeouts.
He is.
Yeah,
He's
so he
leading the
hasn't-
team in everything.
Yeah. Yes, I think
He's
you are
8
right.
and 5 with a 3.22 ERA with 120 innings pitched. Dude's looking incredible, but my concern here is,
The only player that's
is-
been better than him has been Yuri. That's it.
yeah,
but Yuri doesn't have a. Well, I mean, yes, obviously
Yeah.
that doesn't really count.
So my only concern with Luzardo is last year was the most innings he's ever pitched at 100. He's at 120 already. So this is
Fuck.
this is his breakout year is what it's shaping out to be. And there's no, like, I don't want to sound the alarm, like there's no reason to worry or anything because he's still looking great. He's looking even better now than he did in the beginning of the season. So this could be where we see Luzardo take that big step and, be our second ace because, he's putting up numbers that are, I forget where it was, but somebody was even saying like, oh, should Luzardo like kind of start creeping into the Cy Young conversation? I'm like, no, he's not
I
there
don't think-
yet,
I don't think that's
But-
where he's at right now.
but he could be by the end of the year if he holds that ERA at right around 3, he could be.
So
I hadn't realized. I'm sorry, Brian. I'm sorry, Spaz, to cut you
No,
off.
go.
Just real quick. I hadn't realized Braxton has pitched 100 innings. He's only walked 16 batters all year. Braxton has that command on point. Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Spaz. I just
No,
saw
he's
that,
got
and
sauce. I mean, we always
it
talk
stood
about
out. It stood out to me. I was surprised when I just saw
that's a
that.
great fucking fact to have.
Yeah.
I'm sure most people don't know that. That's why
Yeah.
Braxton's the man.
Yeah.
But I was going to say something about Luzardo because I was watching the highlights. Obviously, I was comiendo mierda in New York, so I couldn't watch a lot of the games. But did Skip come out and try to take Luzardo out of the game, and he said, "No, I'm staying in"? Did I see that?
I don't know if he said no, I'm staying in, but he talked to him to make sure he was okay.
Okay, that's what
I think he was considered taking him out,
okay.
and
Yeah.
I don't know the specifics of if he said no and he refused to come off, but I know he came out, he talked to him, he let him work through it, and he got out of the inning. So
He got out, and he was
Yeah.
awesome.
jacked. He was like,
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm sure that's an
Yeah.
awesome feeling when the coach is like, "Hey, maybe you want to come off." He's like, "No, I got it," and then you prove yourself right. Like you bet on yourself. That's got to be an awesome adrenaline
You know
rush.
what, Skip? For giving him that, like, all right, dude, like I trust you like that, man. That bond between like Skip and Luzardo, and like also the rest of the players, and they're like, all right, this guy's
Yeah.
gonna like trust us, and we feel it. Like,
Well, he does that with Sandy too, and like,
yeah, but Sandy has the credentials to be like, all right, dog, I got this,
yeah, but Skip's the manager. If he wants him out, he can pull him out.
That's true.
And I think it just kind of goes to show exactly what you're saying. Like Skip has just a great relationship with the locker room. It's refreshing because Mattingly for so many years just had that like I'm the boss type presence, and you don't get that so much from Skip.
No, he's
No,
one
he's
of
a
the
players
guys.
coach. Yeah, he's a players manager for sure. All right, so you said they're possibly shopping for a starting pitcher, although they had one of the best starting pitchers on their staff, and he went ahead and he started a minor league game this week. Now, I didn't see the minor league game. Brian, do you know how Yuri did in that minor league game, or is that today?
I can tell you. No, he pitched last night.
Okay, see, I didn't
Pull it
see
up.
how
I
he
didn't pull it
did,
up.
but I am personally frustrated because if the man is pitching anyway, why did we send him down?
Yeah,
let's see the innings that he
it's
did.
ridiculous.
I can't imagine that he did more than like 4 or 5 innings.
Well, I'm okay him being a relief pitcher for us.
Well, I got shouted down for that suggestion last episode. So, I don't know about that,
I
but
was frustrated, or let him lead off the bullpen games. Like
yeah,
have him pitch like 2 or 3 innings. Like if we
he
could
could
have
he could
Cueto started off, like why can't
exactly.
Yuri?
He could have done that.
This was always my debate with you guys. If you're gonna shut down Yuri because he's just not gonna throw it anymore, okay, I guess I get it. But if you're gonna send him down, he's gonna be pitching anyway, just in the minors. Just let him pitch with us. If you want to leave him to 1 or 2 innings and make it a bullpen day, go for it. But like, let's get that let's get that guy helping us out.
Danny, doesn't that come down to like some like MLB type shit, like money? It all comes down to business, doesn't it? Where like if we leave,
the
we have to,
service
like,
time.
That's
some bullshit,
yeah.
right? I mean, I don't know.
That's what Callie was saying last episode,
You
and
played
I
11 games. I don't know if that the service
Yeah,
time is weird. I got introduced to that with Gleyber Torres back in 2017 or 18, whatever. That the Yankees ended up waiting 25 games to call him up because if he would have played more than like 100 and I don't know how many games, it would have counted towards a year of service. But because he didn't play a certain amount of games, it didn't. So they controlled him for like an extra year. It's some weird stuff. So, but I don't think maybe. I don't know.
So I have the numbers for Yuri's start last night. So he had 20 days off between starts, so he didn't pitch until last night. He struck out 5 batters over 2 1/3 innings. He allowed 2 runs and 1 earned. One of them was earned. So they're not obviously they're treating it as bullpen games in the minors, but I think it was Craig Mish.
2.5.
Yeah, I think Craig Mish was saying it like, if the plan was to shut down Yuri, we should have just pitched him until he hit whatever number that inning clock was, and then sent him down. Because the strategy that they're trying to sell us on, that they're going to bring him back up for the playoff run, like that's exciting and everything, but with the injury problems we've had in the starting rotation, why not just leave him in? Maybe even if it was like 3 or 4 more starts, and then that gives some guys a chance to get healthier. Let us get to the trade deadline where we bring somebody in who can replace him in the rotation before setting him down. But we were saying that it was coming, and none of us liked it. And now that it's here, it's even.
And I couldn't believe it. I honestly couldn't believe it, just because I was like, "There's no way that he doesn't pitch in the minors." So if he's gonna pitch in the minors, man, let him pitch for us. Like that's why I had a hard time believing it.
You know who took a little bit too much like I told you so, like pride in this? Callie. Callie was like, I told you motherfuckers it was gonna happen. You didn't believe me.
Well, so Callie, I think, got so excited about that because it was the first time he was able to use like a source to confirm information for us.
What a jerk.
Well, speaking of Callie.
Oh,
when he said that he couldn't be on with us, right? He said that he wanted to make sure that we let it be known that he feels like we need bats. Yeah. So Callie, we understand what you're thinking. We're putting it out there. We need bats, but the question is, what bats? So I pass this over to you, Brian. What bats are we going to be looking for? Because you said earlier you think maybe starting pitching. Do you think we're looking for bats also?
That's the rumor, is we're trying to find a like end of the rotation type guy that somebody's going to throw into one of these trades, maybe just to get salary off the books, or it could even be a situation where we're trying to trade salary, maybe an Avi Garcia going one way, taking a starter who's maybe not great. I heard Lance Lynn's name mentioned from the White Sox potentially coming over, but I don't have a source on that. I just have heard that name come over. But I think the Tim Anderson thing's really started to heat up in the last 12 hours now over today. I've seen it from a lot of places, and I've also actually have a source who says things are happening. They wouldn't comment on how far things have gotten, or if it's even gone past like, hey, is Tim available? Yeah, give us your full farm system. No, thanks. He wouldn't tell me what was going on there. But so yeah, that would be exciting. Marlins Twitter hates it because they're looking at just his stats from this year. They're forgetting that last 4 years before this year, he was hitting over 300 for the season. And since the All-Star break, he's hitting over 380. So he's heating up at the right time. Let's bring him in, put him in at shortstop. We got to rise at second. It's going to be
Birdie
a
at
beautiful
third.
thing. Hell yeah. Segura on his
Spaz.
way out as part of that trade.
Spaz, let the people know why Tim Anderson is going to be rejuvenated here in Miami. Let them know.
Because of the
He
Cuban
hates us.
cafecito? Because of the
The
cafecito?
cafecito. And don't tell me that doesn't work. Everybody was like, Jonathan Davis. Oh my God, look at his stats. He's
my
barely batting 200. That boy went to Calle Ocho. He went to La Ventanita. He got his Cuban coffee. Off to the races. Balling.
I hope
Don't
he's-
expect anything different from Tim Anderson.
Listen, that's your boy, and I hope. Listen, I think I've said this in multiple episodes that I just want somebody who's gonna not hit into a double play. That's all I want. I want somebody that's gonna not hit into a double play and just bring our runners in, because we have to be up there in leaving men on base, right? We have to be like
We're the Michael Jordans.
Yeah, we're
Michael
the leaving men on base. So whoever it is, and I don't even know what the deadline is. What, Monday?
Tuesday, I believe.
Tuesday. Okay.
Tuesday at 6 p.m.
Okay. I don't care for a pitcher, but what I do want, because we always do this, is we just hoard our prospects and we just hold them and hold them and hold them forever. Fucking unload the clip, bro. Like, this is the year to do it. Unload the clip, like whatever. Give up whoever and bring in whoever we need. Make a push. We can get the at the very least the wild card, and get out there and at least.
Listen, you're gonna get your wish. It's gonna happen this year. Jake Eder he's gonna be a guy that's going the other way in a deal, and he's gonna bring somebody good back. He's a hell of a left-handed pitcher, and I would have loved to see him stay with the team. But as Callie would say, bring me the bats.
Yeah,
bring them in.
The bats, bro.
Would you go all in this year? Because we had a Miami historian on with us last week, and he said that he probably wouldn't go all in because this year is he rather just load up for next season. I don't know what next season is going to look like with the Marlins. You just never know. I say go all in now. What do you guys think?
I say you go all in. You go all in, but you do it the smart way.
Yeah.
Like you get a guy like Tim Anderson. He's got an option for next year, so he's here more than just the end of the season. Another guy that's been thrown around is Calderario from the Nats as a third baseman. Guys like that who are late 20s, early 30s, but still controllable for a little bit. Like, that's what you go for. Like, I don't think we're in a position where we can say, okay, this bat has like 6 months on his contract. Let's go get him. And that's the piece we need to win the World Series. I say you bring in some pieces, but if you fall a little bit short this year, you can add 1 or 2 pieces in the offseason and be ready for next year too.
Well, I think
go ahead, Spaz.
all right. Now, Christian Duran, one of our comments here, said that we got to be buyers, and it's been so many years of us being sellers. Now, the historian said, "Don't sell the farm."
See,
I say empty the clip.
Oh, well, I wouldn't empty the clip. That I wouldn't do.
No, dude, listen, I'm tired. This is the closest we've had to like even getting near where we need to be. And I know a lot of people don't like the shortened season that we beat the Cubs and we made the playoffs or whatever. A lot of people don't like that.
Oh, 2020?
2020, yes. So that one doesn't count for a lot of people. It counts for me, but whatever.
Why don't you just say Danny's name? Don't say a lot of people, all right?
Well, I think that there's some people that agree with me. Look, it was the best stat. Look, the historian's on there.
It
Historically,
really was.
it was the best stat in all of professional sports. No other professional sports team can say that they were undefeated in series in the playoffs. It was
Yeah.
an unbelievable stat.
Listen, but
But,
as
you know.
Marlins fans, we got to take the small victories, whatever
That
it
wasn't a
is.
small victory. You ruined the big victory
Making
with
the
a small
playoffs
victory.
is a small victory.
Listen,
Yeah.
I'll
his
take it.
historian is about to hit me with like a bunch of like actual things that like are real, and I don't want to hear this. I don't want to hear this. I just want to be like a fucking fan that wants to win something.
I am going to hit you with a fact that you might not believe, Spaz. Now, you said we are, and you've said it all season, we are the Michael Jordans of leaving runners on base.
Yeah.
We're actually not. We're not the worst team at leaving runners on
Whoa.
base. That's actually Toronto. We are 18th in the league for leaving runners on base, meaning that there's 12 teams that are, 12 teams or 11 teams, 12 teams that are worse than us.
How the
We
hell?
are,
yeah.
on average, we're leaving 6.9 runners on base, which is a lot. But there are teams. Boston's worse than us. Minnesota, the Giants, Cleveland, the Angels, Philadelphia, Texas, San Diego, Cubs, St. Louis, the Dodgers, and Toronto, all worse than us as far as leaving runners on base. So there you go. We're not the Michael Jordans. We're like the Jimmy Butlers.
Ooh.
Jesus
No?
Christ.
Ooh.
That's not bad.
This man's mad that I went to the Barclays Center recently and he wasn't there.
Let me tell you something. I've had some bad experiences at the Barclays Center. I think I told you guys about, but
So look at the historian. The story says, but need that depth before we cannot empty the clip. Need to get rid of the Jeter bust in the system. And you know what I don't need? I don't need rational thinking right now, historian.
you know what else I don't need? I also don't need Jeter slander. So
Oh God, yeah, from you.
Oh boy.
all right.
Love you, historian.
All right. So Jazz, I'm hearing rumors that he might be back for this weekend
No.
series. Is this true? It's not true.
I can't see it happen.
So
Oh,
he said that.
that's what I'm
He
saying.
said
Jazz,
he would be
Jazz
back.
is like the worst person to hear
Yes.
about his comeback from.
Yeah. So, like, if you remember last season, he's like, "Oh yeah, I'll be back by the next season or next series," and he never played again. So he hasn't even. I don't even think he started hitting off a
God damn
tee
it,
yet.
Jazz.
So, I would love for him to be back. So to welcome Miggy back, but I don't see it.
Ooh, you brought up Miggy. Can we talk about Miggy for a second?
Well, that was the next topic. Great transition there, Brian.
Somebody
Yeah.
reads the show sheet.
Yeah. Miguel Cabrera weekend at Lone Depot Park. Unfortunately, I am going to be out of town on a family reunion, which effing sucks because I would have loved to be there this weekend for that. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be awesome. You know, it's last visit here in Miami, and I'm sure that you guys absolutely love Miggy. So go ahead, Spaz. What you got to say about Miggy?
No, dude, I think it's going to be a huge turnout. I think a lot.
I'm sorry. His story just said
That's
his
the
copy
best
of MLB The
comment.
23 is the most I've seen Jazz this year.
It's true.
He's right.
And we love him, but yeah, he's 100% right.
All right, so back to Miggy.
No, dude, I think a lot of people, I mean, look how successful Throwback Fridays have been and all that. So tomorrow I expect it to be very well attended game. And just a lot of people remember the name and seeing him out there. I'm sure he's going to go out there, and the Marlins fans will 1,000%, clap for him every time he's up. Like no one has any ill will towards fucking Miguel Cabrera. It's going to be awesome. So, I mean, and it's also the Venezuelan weekend, right? Like,
Yeah.
Saturday.
Yeah, they're doing it at the same time. 'cause he's
Saturday.
Venezuelan.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you know who else is Venezuelan?
Our boy.
Rise.
Yeah, that's right. So, I mean, it's going to be a very, very well-attended weekend, and I'm going to try to get out one of the days.
I'm
Maybe tomorrow.
aiming for Sunday.
Maybe
I don't know if
tomorrow.
I'll make it tomorrow.
I'm going to figure it out. I've got kind of a busy weekend, but yeah, if you can go, please go. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I mean the lineup, the rumors I'm hearing of former Marlins who are coming back tomorrow. It's making me wish and tell my family to take a hike and go down to the ballpark and see them.
Just do it.
Listen, if you do that, no more Inter Miami games for the rest of the season. You're
Well,
fucked.
that's
So-
I've kind of used my allotment of sporting events for the last week on Messi. So, but God, my only regret from Miguel Cabrera is that we did not get more of him. Like, he was so fun when he came up as a young kid, and like he was just having a great time. And like, I'll never forget. I was
There's,
there in
there's
the
free
World
backpacks on
Series.
Sunday, by the way.
Yeah, that's why I'm trying to go back to school. My son needs to have some swag.
There you go.
But I'll never forget that World Series game against Roger Clemens. I was there like way deep in the back of the upper deck of Pro Player Stadium, and I just remember him just like working Roger Clemens, and then like jacking that home run off him. And I was like, this kid has made it. Like, this is going to be so good. And I've never, even with Mike Stanton, like, I knew he was going to be good, but I've never had such hope for a player like I did for Miggy. And I've never like instantly fallen in love with a player like that.
You know what the
A
worst part of
rise
this
might
is?
be the closest.
The thing
I
is
watch that video all
Mickey,
the time.
Yeah.
of the World Series home run.
Yeah.
Of Clemens working him.
That
and
at bat.
like stepping back in and being like, yo, I'm gonna
I think Historian put it out like last week or the week before.
Okay.
So go back and check. It was good.
What sucks is that Mickey was here, 3 seasons? Was it 2 or 3 seasons?
I don't know, man.
Whatever it was, it's frustrating
was-
because if you think about it, it was only like 2 or 3 seasons, and then he went to Detroit. And who wants to live in Detroit? But he managed to stay there for 2 full decades.
Yeah.
It's like, my God, he just stayed.
Which
And
is kind of weird for a Venezuelan to just be in Detroit that long.
just in Detroit, winning Triple Crowns, just chilling with Eminem. Like, that's
He
just
did
what
the
he's
triple-
doing.
Yeah, he was on 8 Mile Road with Eminem. Yeah, I don't get it. I don't get it at all. But he did win the Triple Crown there, which is
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very cool, very cool. But yeah, Miggy Weekend's gonna be big time, and it's gonna be very nostalgic, very cool for all those old school hardcore Marlins fans. Oh, it was 2007. I thought it was 2005, 2006. Okay, so we got 4 seasons out of him.
Yeah.
Still not enough, but much better than what I
Ooh.
thought. Double the time that
Christian's
I thought.
calling me out. Tell me to get
Oh.
out of here.
Oh,
Listen, Miguel Cabrera was like, I was in high school when that World Series happened, and when he came up, and like I was just I just gravitated towards him. You know, the youthful love for the guy.
exuberance. Yeah, I got you.
aging yourself, Branson. Aging yourself there.
Actually,
right.
he's making me feel aged. He said he's in high school. I was in college when that was going on, so made me feel horrible.
Spazzy was on to his 3rd, 4th job.
Okay, yeah. That's about that.
So
I am
I
your
guess
daddy, motherfuckers.
we'll continue talking about this weekend and the next 2 series. So we got Detroit, obviously here at home with Miggy with the weekend. We got them for 3 games. Now, when you look at Detroit, not the best team. I want to say they're like 8 or 9 games under 500. They're one of the worst hitting teams in the league. So you would feel, I guess, I think you should feel pretty good about them. And then after that, you have Philly. And when we're talking about Philly, it's not just a big because it's a divisional game, but we're half a game behind them. And we're half a game behind the wild card spot. There's only 3 spots, and Philly's occupying one of them. So we need to at least win 2 out of 3 in this series. So I pass it on like I love to do to the most optimistic of us all, Spaz. So Spaz, we have.
I thought you were gonna call Cali.
No. So we do have these 6 games, but they're all home games, so that's a plus. So how do you feel? We got 3 games against 3 games against Detroit and 3 games against Philly. How are you feeling about this weekend?
I can't see.
Wow, Zachary just
Damn,
made
Zach.
me feel horrible.
I know. Yeah.
So you haven't witnessed Zachary. I'm sorry, you haven't
I'm
witnessed
sorry, dude.
any Marlins greatness.
This is the greatest season he's ever witnessed.
Yeah, for sure. Unless you count
You've
2020,
had
like
nothing
Spaz
but
likes
pain,
to do.
man.
No, Spaz likes to count 2020. He had 2020.
Don't be a dick. I like to count 2020.
All right. Yeah, Spaz. What are you thinking prediction wise?
I can't see the Tigers losing 3 games on Miggy weekend. I'm sorry, I can't. I say we go 2 out of 3 on that.
Okay.
And the Phillies, man, that's our. I think I've told you guys 1,000 times in this podcast. Like, the Braves are the fucking like juggernauts right now. Like anybody, the Mets have $1 billion on the field and they still fucking suck. The Phillies are the team I love to beat. I will celebrate a Phillies win more than any of the other teams. That I don't know. I can't explain it. I don't know why. I want to
in any sport.
Yes, yeah. Philadelphia is just the fucking worst always.
Yeah.
But
I agree with this.
I want to sweep these fucking guys. I want to sweep them. So I say 2 out of 3 from Detroit, and I want to sweep the Phillies. Get the fuck out of here. Let's go.
My God.
Right.
That might be the first time you've ever said we're going to sweep somebody.
Yeah. So according to
Phillies, I hate the Phillies.
we're going 5-1 in the next 6. I love that. I love the optimism, the positive vibes I'm getting here from Spaz. It's got me feeling all types of ways. I might even get some goosebumps here.
Ooh.
Brian, how you feeling? Next six coming up.
Well, now after that, like, man, I got goosebumps. I got the chills, all sorts of shit going on.
When you hear Spaz being optimistic, you gotta feel good.
I know. So I'm a little less optimistic. I think we take 2 from the Tigers for sure. I think it is possible we sweep them. I wouldn't be surprised if we pull that off. We coming off a day off. We've had 2 days off this week, so a little extra rest. Hopefully that bullpen maybe finds some things out. Philly, I'm thinking 2 out of 3. The only reason is because there's a Cueto start somewhere in that Phillies series.
Well, no, there's a Cueto starting the Detroit on Saturday. Cueto starting.
Oh, is it?
Yep.
No. We're slotting him in as the 3.
Yeah. So we have Garrett going on Friday, Cueto going on Saturday, and Luzardo going on Sunday.
All right. So I think Garrett and Luzardo win for sure. Cueto, if we get the Cueto we saw in the last start, I think we could sweep them. Absolutely. Philly, I think we take 2 out of 3. They're a really good team. Bryce Harper's getting hot right now and looking good. And it's going to be a challenging series, but I'm with you, Spaz. Like, if there's any team I want to sweep, it's the Phils. I fucking hate that.
Well, like you said, if Cueto shows up on Saturday, I feel good, and I'm kind of on Brenton. I also think, even though it's Miggy's weekend, right? I still think that there's going to be a certain energy in that stadium. Although people want to see Miggy, everybody's here rooting for the Marlins. Anyway, nobody's rooting for Detroit.
They're going to clap for Miggy, but they're not going to cheer
they're
for
rooting for him,
Tigers.
but they're not shooting. So I think it's going to be a nice energy out there. A lot of Venezuelans out there on Saturday. I'm going to go out and join Brenton and saying we sweep them. I think we sweep the Tigers, and I think we take 2 out of 3 against Philly. I do think that we take 2 out of 3 against Philly. We have Sandy going against the Phillies, and yeah, I'm feeling good. Did you guys know that the Marlins? Oh, I just lost it. That the Marlins are. Oh, where was it? They're the 4th. They have the 4th most hits in all the major leagues. That's wild. Like, we've been putting bat to ball.
Yeah, but
like
We do it all in one game, though.
Yeah. Where are they being left?
We scored like 14 runs in a game. And
we're the Jimmy Butlers of leaving runners on base, not the Michael Jordans.
And
that's
I
true.
really like numbers, man, but I don't like those numbers. I want to know.
I love numbers, man.
I know you do.
That's why I love baseball. But look, if we're getting that many hits, we're, like we said, we're manufacturing runs. Like, we're not a big home run hitting team necessarily. So yeah. I'm glad. And I guess, do you guys? I mean, we usually end it after the predictions, but I am curious to see how you guys feel. How do you guys feel about Soler? Because I feel like he's kind of just
he's gone real cold.
Yeah, he's batting 240. He has 24 home runs, but I feel like he hasn't been as productive since the All-Star break.
Did he have a couple of sack flies during the Rocky series or something?
Yeah, but it's Soler. Don't give me fucking sack flies, man. You say it best. Hit that ball to fucking Calle Ocho.
Listen, that's ideal.
Like, I don't want a sack fly. Like, he's not hitting it to Calle Ocho. He's hitting it to Calle Uno.
Look, and over the last 2 series, he had 2 hits, 10 strikeouts, 1 walk. He was batting 105 over the last week.
I mean, that's kind of the that's kind of the player he's always been, though. He's been streaky. Like he's gonna get
Oof.
hot. He's gonna get hot. He's gonna get cold. He's gonna get cold. You know, one thing I'll be interested to see is if he is still here after the trade deadline, because I know there are teams that want a power bat like that. And depending on what we get back in return, it could be a good deal. But then I also hear that he really likes it here. And if he stays past the deadline, I think we've got Soler for the long term. So we just have to support him and hope he turns it around. And we have to understand, like, he's a power bat. He's gonna have games or streaks where he's hitting a home run every game, and he's gonna have streaks where he's striking out every at bat.
Well, I think it was Mish said that like he wants to stay here, and his mind is set to be.
He wants to stay here. I want him.
I mean, but you know who also said that? Starling Marte, and we let him go to the Mets and do nothing.
Peter Pratt's got it right, man. Let's just send a little guy named Avi Garcia, power bat in AAA, send him up north, and let's bring Marte back home.
If that happened, I would buy drinks for everyone at the Budweiser bar. I would buy fucking drinks for everyone at Budweiser.
I would be there every day. I would drive from North Broward every day and just say, put it on Spaz's tab.
Thank you for that.
I am curious how this all plays out. Like I said, we need bats, and if Soler isn't hitting bombs for us since the All-Star game, he has 1 home run. He's batting 136 with 18 strikeouts and 44 at bats. He's
but
like,
the whole team's been shit since the All-Star break. So
this is true. Also,
I think he'll come back.
Let's hope that we get things going over the next week. We all predict. Well, we didn't all predict. Oh, we all did predict 5-1, right?
Yeah,
we all predicted 5-1
in different ways. Yeah,
right. But we all got 5-1. So hopefully we can get that going, because if we do, we'll be 60-49, 11 games over 500, and probably in the wild card spot. So let's hope for good things.
When we hit 60 games in like September.
Yeah. So all right. So final thoughts. Any final thoughts for you, Brenton, before we head out?
Listen, it's Miggy weekend. Do what you can to get out there, support our boy in his last season. We may have only had him for 4 years, and Detroit had him for 20 years, but he's a Marlin forever. So get out there, support him, and do what you do. Share the podcast. Hop on live with us next episode. We start getting more viewers. Maybe we'll do like a fan question section. So more incentive to join us next Thursday at 9 p.m.
Spaz, final thoughts.
Get out to the ballpark this weekend, see Miguel Cabrera, and I will say this: since we're doing this live, I will be raffling off some Marlins shit next week. So
how do I enter?
Motherfucker, you're on the podcast. No, you can't get
you've got some good shit.
So I will be raffling off some Marlins things that I have. Please watch us, like us, comment, and all that. And I mean, we'll announce it next week. But just know that we are going to be raffling off a couple of items. And come back, listen, watch.
All right. And if you were listening on audio, thank you for listening all the way to the end. Please leave a review and a star and all that other good stuff. And if you're watching on YouTube and you didn't watch us live, thank you for watching all the way to the end. And if you did watch us live and you participated in the chat, thank you for joining us, joining in the chat, being part of the show. As always, the chat is always the funnest part of these episodes. And until next Thursday, we will catch you guys on the next one. Peace.